Welcome to the Wonder With Me podcast, where I, Dr. Tonia Winchester, invite you to get curious with me about all things mind-body healing, especially how we can unlock the incredible healing power of our unconscious minds, so that we can all get out of stress mode and go back into healing mode. We'll talk about how you can easily create healthy, sustainable self-care habits so that you can calm your mind, sleep deeply, wake rested, and enjoy happy, energized days. Ultimately, so that you can make a bigger difference in your well-being and that of your family and the world around you. These casual chats are for educational purposes only and don't constitute a therapeutic relationship. With all that said, let's get this episode underway. Come wonder with me. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. I am your hostess, Dr. and/or Coach Tonia Winchester, and this is the place where we turn little life moments into big life lessons. And this is episode number 51, possibly the most vital thing you can ever learn. It is a dramatic title, and it was not titled by current Tonia, but by 11 years ago Tonia. Yes, this is another retrosode. From time to time on this podcast, I will go back and bring you what's called a retrosode, and this is when I go back and read my old blog posts from when I first started my blog for a couple reasons. A, posterity. Let's reflect and see how far we've come. And also, maybe there's some good stuff in there, and I'm curious, as current Tonia, what past Tonia was getting curious about, and if there's anything that I am still jiving on, or if I have changed my tune on, and we can kind of go from there. And this one was published on June the 2nd, 2013, and it's titled, Possibly the Most Vital Thing We Can Ever Learn. I will say what I'm about to read is not something I have pre-read in preparation for recording. I'm going to be reading it in real time, and let's just see what happens. Let's get into it. Let's get wondering. Self-love has come up a lot in conversation with friends and patients this week. This sparkled me. Yes, it says sparkled me to dig up an old article I wrote when I was in naturopathic college. Ooh, I know what's coming next. This is a candid reflection of success, failure, and unconditional love for self and others. Hopefully there will be some tasty tidbits in it for you. Originally published in the student newspaper, it has evolved as this post. Before I go any further, I will say that this has come up recently in my personal life, and I may get emotional when I read this. It's deeply connected to my dad and our relationship, and you may or may not know he passed away a couple of years ago. So again, we're just gonna see what happens. Back to the post. Dr. Love, all capitalized, thyself. In my second year at naturopathic college, my unremitting, impeccable academic record became, well, slightly soiled. For the first time in my life, I failed something. To be more accurate, I failed 3 somethings. 3 midterms. Yikes. Some of my classmates seemed to be in the same boat, and for some reason we all forgot our paddles. And those who did remember them didn't seem to remember how to use them. I was terrified to tell my parents that their baby girl wasn't reaching the bar. I had to find the right time to let them down. An online conversation with my dad, this was in Google Chat, PS, proved to be the perfect opportunity. There's nothing like hiding behind an emotionally muted monitor. I typed what I had to type and winced, waiting for his reply with my hands in front of my face and my fingers spread as if I was watching the scary part of a scary movie. And you'll never guess what he said back to me. I was shocked and appalled. He said, "Maybe you're not getting enough exercise. It's all about balance, sweetie." I blinked and lowered my futile hand screen from my face. I thought maybe he hadn't heard me or had misunderstood because he didn't mention anything about the marks. Dumbfounded, I replied, "Thank you for not being upset. LOL. Upset? We love you no matter what marks you bring home. We didn't set the bar you're trying to reach. You did. We love what you're doing, and we have faith in you." Wow. Unconditional love I got really excited at the possibility of emulating such love for my patients. I was proud of this practical connection I had established, but it wasn't until a couple days later that I realized that I'd missed the boat entirely, with or without a paddle. Unconditional love for my patients and those around me is a beautiful and valuable thing, don't get me wrong, but what about me? Don't I deserve to feel that way about myself? Instead of saying to myself, good try, Tonia, I love you no matter what happens, I found myself saying, maybe you didn't notice, Tonia, but the bar is actually a couple inches higher, and I'd love if you could reach that. Have you seen how short I am? If I could just extend my arm with this paddle. Why is it so hard for people to withhold judgment of themselves, to love themselves unconditionally, and have faith in their own abilities? The way we think about ourselves affects every aspect of our very existences, how we relate to others and to our surroundings. There are no benefits to selling ourselves short, even for those of us who really are short. I like this quote by William Arthur Ward. The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. As a health educator and doctor, my role is to teach people to care for themselves. I've come to realize the best way to teach is to do what I want them to do. And it's more than just eating well or exercising. It's about cutting ourselves some slack and taking the if clause out of our proclamations of self-love. So if you fall or fail, just grab a new paddle or try a new stroke. I know this is not easy nor quick, but start now. Find a mirror, look deeply into your eyes, and tell yourself that you deeply and unconditionally love yourself. And then the sign-off, here's to your jive and health and thriving life full of self-love, Dr. Tonia. Okay, well, there that is. I do believe I've told this story somewhere recently, again, since my dad passed away. I told that story actually in front of a church full of hundreds of people, as an example of the type of human being that my dad was and taught me to be. And I love reflecting back on this post because it is, in a lot of ways, as I read it, I can see my personal interests as a person, but also as a naturopathic doctor, and how those interests led me into mind-body healing and coaching. And how that led me into then writing 2 books, 1, Breakthrough the Insomnia Cycle, and 2, Thinking Kindly. So this is posterity at its best here. I can see so many glimmers of things that became real life professional obsessions in this article that I just read to you, and taking very seriously my self-proclaimed role as a health educator, and which, by the way, doctor in Latin, docere, means to teach. And how then in practice I was bumping up against that place. This is part of the origin story, which I've shared many times, but bumping up against that place where people are having such a hard time taking care of themselves. They come in with their list of health concerns. We talk about them all. We go over them. We put a plan together, often involving some sort of new habit or new behavior. Drink more water, get to bed on time, eat your broccoli, move your body, breathe, as foundational physical nutrients of health. And they come back and they tell me these things are hard, and I don't get it. Because the act of doing those things is not hard. It's not hard to do any of the things I just suggested as examples, but what is hard is the leap that we have to make inside of us, inside our unconscious mind, the leap that allows us to get to the other side of this chasm where we can say, yes, today is the day that I'm going to take care of myself. And yes, tomorrow is also going to be the day that I take care of myself. And the day after that, I'm really going to do my darndest then too. Do you hear the passion in my voice? And that's what neurolinguistic programming allowed me to do in a really specific way, help people to get pain and old traumatic experiences out of their body, which I came to realize was often preventing them from having this type of capacity for self-love, for self-acceptance, for self-care. And then leading into this new work that I've trained in that seems to be so good at refining the behaviors and eliminating the behaviors that we don't want and building in the ones that we do. So this concert of all of these instruments, all of these musicians at play, I'm speaking very metaphorically here. Let me bring this back down into tangible understanding so you know where I'm at. But these ideas of these naturopathic philosophies of nature knows how to heal itself. You're part of nature. You know how to heal yourself. A, you got to get stuff out of the way that's blocking you from healing. And B, you got to put in good behaviors. And sometimes you may not have the capacity to do that because it feels like you're stuck in a rut, or maybe you're bumping up against a brick wall, or maybe you're trapped in a box or something like this. I can help with all of those places. So it's all about balance, sweetie. Those 5 words have stayed with me since then and have paved how I see myself, how I interact with the world, how I teach others to do the same. And it really is about balance. It really is about this in and out, nutrients in, toxins out, wastes out, on all 4 levels, biochemically, physically, I've been mostly talking about here today, but then also emotionally and mentally. And this seamlessly leads into the new book, Thinking Kindly, 7 Steps to Stop Self-Criticism and Change Negative Thoughts into Positive Ones. I can't believe that was the second post I ever put on my blog. It's actually the 3rd. The first I read in episode 49. The second, I don't really feel like I need to read out loud just looking at the title. It's just talking about an injection therapy I do called a Myers cocktail. I don't need to read that out loud. And then this one is number 3 from 2013, and this stands true. And maybe it's a little bit corny. Maybe I think I'm a bit judgy of myself back then. It's a bit corny at times, but I think the thread of it is still very, very accurate. That we have the potential to weave ourselves a beautiful tapestry when we can recognize that, yes, it's all about balance and finding these places of self-love, care, and acceptance. Through thinking kindly, behaving kindly, eating kindly, all of these things. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that you're here, being curious about yourself, your health, your wellness, your life. I'll catch you in the next episode of the Wonder With Me podcast, and in the meantime, may you choose to make all of your dreams come true. Hey, thanks for wondering with me today. If you've got something good out of this, then please forward this episode along to the people who you know could benefit. Be sure to subscribe, and if you're really keen, you leaving us a rating and review helps us to help more people, so thank you in advance for that. If you're wanting more insights about how you can leverage the power of your unconscious mind to go back into healing mode, head on over to toniawinchester.com, where you'll find my book, Breakthrough the Insomnia Cycle, and other helpful ideas. Thanks again, and we'll connect on the next episode of the Wonder With Me podcast. In the meantime, may you choose to make all of your dreams come true.